Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swole podcast. Let me fix that angle a tad. Before we introduce our guest this evening, I'll give a couple shout outs. My first shout out of the evening will be to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with the Z.com. They are a apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym. They also make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Use the discount code Jake15 to save you 15% on your entire order. Next shout out of the evening will be to Royalty Nutrition. That's royaltynutrition.com. And to help me out with that is Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Royalty Nutrition, royaltynutrition.com. Check out a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that doesn't automatically go to the cheapest ingredient while they're making their formulas. Use the discount code 37HAKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My last shout out of the evening will be to the FitOps Foundation. You can check them out at fitops.org. They are a not-for-profit organization that helps veterans rediscover their purpose through fitness and becoming elite personal trainers after their service to the nation. If you're looking for a great not-for-profit to donate to, it's fitops.org/donate. In fact, the reason why our guest is on the show is because I met this wonderful gentleman at FitOps. Before we get into that, DJ Swirl, tell him about Buy to Buy. Tell him all about Buy to Buy.
Happy 420, everybody. Let me just get that out of the way. Yes,
it's
Buy
Patriots
to Buy.
Day.
Patriots Day. God damn. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But yes, Buy to Buy. If you are shopping in store or online and you find you do not have the time, towing, or muscle to get your purchase home, give us a call. We will help you from the time you buy until the time we say goodbye, hence the name. This is the creative aspect of Buy to Buy. It's Buy to Buy Studios. Now with my pops called Beats That Bind Us that just did some editing on, and it's fire. I'm ready to release that tomorrow. And then got some other people I'm helping out on the low, and look forward to doing this in a remote nature for a lot of people. As we talk about every week, YouTube is offering upwards of $50,000 for people to bring their podcasts to the video format. So this is how you do that, and I can do that from the comfort of my home and your home. So hit us up at Buy to Buy Studios everywhere you are online for the practical muscle balance side of our business at BUYTOBYE. That's it for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring in our guest. He is the Flex Chef, Mr. Matt Shepard.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, my friend. It's been a long time. Haven't seen you since 2017.
It has been quite a minute, man. It's
406 years ago.
Yeah, for real. I'm liking what you guys are doing, man.
Thank you. So give the people a little bit of background. Who are you?
So
Where
my
are you
name
from?
is
What's your mom's name?
Shepard. I am originally from Pasadena, California, born and raised. I'm a Navy veteran. I got out of the house at 17, joined the Navy to see the world, and hit the ground running. Yeah.
There you go. So what was your was the Navy your escape? And was it like your first plan?
You know what? I actually had some scholarships for college, and at that age, I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to go to college. Like, I was young and I was thinking, man, I'm not very collegiate. Like, I'm not into studies. So, immediately, actually, I was going to join the Marines first, and recruiter, he was
Says
just,
everyone. I was gonna join the Marines.
you know what? The recruiter was a jerk, and so right before I was about to sign with him, I walked over to the other table and I was like, you know what? Boom, Navy. And yeah, I didn't regret it. When you say was it escape, it kind of was. It was for me. I figured that was easier than me just trying to do the whole book thing and study thing because, like I said, I'm not really a collegiate person. I learn hands on in other ways. So joining the Navy, that was my way to get out the house, to get life experience, to see the world. I really wanted to travel. So I picked my ship out of boot camp and out of A school, I mean, because it was on a Westpac. So I wanted to just boom, just go straight there and start getting stuff done. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, good. What was your job in the Navy?
I was the operations specialist. So basically, I had like a security clearance and we did like navigation and radar and helping I was on an amphibious vessel. So our job was to make sure the Marines got to the beach safe. So we would plot their waves and stuff like that. I also did air traffic control, which was super dope. At a young age, like they sent me to like air traffic control school, and a lot of people that were um, in my rating were like pretty proud of me. I was proud of myself for that. That was pretty dope at such a young age.
So I mean, I obviously don't know. I have no clue how most ratings or how anything like that works in the Navy. Um, because I was in the infantry, dude. It was like you run gooder than most with the bang switch in your hand.
You know what? It's so funny because, okay, so my recruiter, I told him I wanted to work with computers. I said, you know what? I like computers. I want to work with computers. And I didn't know what the rating of IT was. But in my head, I was thinking like, they'll probably put me as an IT, not knowing what that was. Um, and the recruiter said, you know what? You'd probably be a good fit for OS. You scored high enough on the ASVAB. That's what you should do. And he also said, trust me, when they pull into port, they're the first ones to leave the ship. And I was like, sold. So yeah, that's probably a big part of it. But yeah,
How does I'm sorry, go on. I can save that.
we were right behind like the bridge on the ship, and we did a whole bunch of operations which were classified and stuff like that. Were But it was kind of the meat and potatoes, the heart of the ship.
That's pretty awesome, man. I never had the opportunity to go on a MEU or anything like that. Um,
Hmm.
because that's not where the Marine Corps needed us at that time. So I I am kind of jealous, but I'm not at the same time because I love hearing ship stories, and then I also like, oh man, that sounds terrible. Did you have bad
It's so
experience?
funny. I chalk it up to everything is a life lesson and experience. Everything is a story to be told. Um, a lot of people didn't like the ship experience because of the rack stacked three high or whatnot, or I had my sea legs fairly quick. I didn't have any motion sickness when I got to the ship. Um, the berthings were tight spaced, and there was not a lot of storage space. But I adapted quickly. I loved living on a ship. Actually, I really loved
Okay.
it. Like, yeah. And you know what? The only thing I didn't like was because I'm 6'4", so I would always bang my head on the like coming in and out of the scuttles or like my shins. Oh man, I would always just be banged up. But other than that, like I loved
Okay. Um, Yeah, that sounds like, because I'm 5'9" on my, and but my clumsy ass, I think I'd still find a way to be hitting my head at the top of doors and
You'd probably be jumping through them like, bing, yeah.
yeah, I've always had way too much energy for my own good, right? But so we do have something else in common here, other than being veterans and pretty. Um, you got sober yourself,
I did.
and
So when I met you, that I was at a veterans transitional housing. It was in Hollywood, Hollywood Veterans Center, and that was one of the requirements. So let's rewind back. So I got out of the Navy. I got discharged for smoking marijuana. So when I got out, like the last thing I did was to want to be involved with any veterans, anything military related. I had a super bad experience on my discharge, and every single every single step I took to like contact the Navy and to get stuff, figured out, I was just put off. So for years and years, it was probably, I think, 10 or so years before I even thought to like reach back out to like the veteran community or even talk about anything military related. So, so I had a little stint. I had like hard times. I was married. I was in and out of jails. And my wife at the time, we were just getting into it all the time and we were using. And so that caused a lot of conflict. And just being in and out of jail is like, the last time I was in jail, my cellie, he was actually a Marine, and we kind of hit it off. I was like, "Oh, you're a Marine," and of course, the banter between the services. So, and also he was an artist, so we draw and share stories. And once my time got closer to getting out, he asked me, he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'm tired of living on the streets. I'm tired of, you know, going in and out of jails and just doing this repeating, evolving door." And so he suggested that I get out of the city that I was in was Orange County at the time, Santa Ana to be exact. But he suggested that I get out of the county and go back up to LA County, where I'm from, and to enroll in the VA healthcare program. And at the time, he kind of set out like a guideline and told me everything to do. And basically, that's what I did when I got out the last time. I hit the ground running. I called my mom. I called some friends, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna get clean and blah 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 blah." And so that's what I set out to do. And so I went to the VA in LA, and they set me up with Hollywood Vet Center, which was pretty cool. It it was I guess you would say an inpatient program. It had like stages to it. Um, so from there, I pretty much hit it off with a couple veterans, and immediately my first thing was the gym. Like when I was in the service, I worked out constantly. So that mentality that I had was, okay, I'm going to get sober, I'm going to get fit. So immediately when I went to that transitional housing, they had a gym there, and I damn near just lived in the gym. Um, from there, I met a couple of people, and our similarities were fitness. Um, and one of the people in particular was Passmore, and
yeah,
Passmore brought up FitOps. He applied first, and when I found out about it, we both found out about it at the same time. When I found out about it, I was like, "Oh, that seems like a good program," and I was just hesitant. And he was like, "Dude, do it." And I was hesitant because if I got uh, accepted, I would have to leave that transitional housing, and then my bed would be gone. So he convinced me to do it. I did it, and then I went to FitOps. I met you guys, and that was just a whole amazing experience. Um, so throughout my first stages of getting sober, so when I first got to the transitional housing, of course, they had random drug tests and, they had their rules and whatnot. So it was pretty easy, for me to basically follow the rules there. Um, I learned about meditation. I learned about like cognitive um, therapy and whatnot, uh, things that made me kind of calm down my racing thoughts and stay out of my head. Um, and throughout all of this, um, it started bringing up memories, and it started allowing me to get stuff off my chest. It started allowing me to reach back into my past. It started allowing me to connect with veterans, because that whole time, like I kind of just, I had a sour taste in my mouth. So it was really refreshing. I met up with you guys. The FitOps program was excellent. Um, because like I said, I was hesitant. Like me and my fitness, a lot of people would always see me in the gym, but I was always hesitant to do anything with that. So when I got back from FitOps, I actually ended up getting a bed back in the transitional housing, and then uh, I started working for a nonprofit called Heroes Movement. Uh,
Hmm.
it's funny because another FitOps alumni, Andy Ward, she introduced me to that.
Okay.
So
Was
so that was go
Raymond
ahead.
Navarro still with them?
I had met Raymond earlier, and I think I had met Raymond through Merging Vets and Players, which is also
Okay.
an organization that I'm affiliated with. Um, I think I had met him earlier through that because his name would come up, and I knew of him, but I couldn't put a face on him. Um,
He's like a 6'4" Mexican cat. Looks like Jesus. I love that guy.
Jesus or Jesus? Wait a minute.
Well, I mean,
That's funny. Yeah. But so yeah, through FitOps, like that really kind of built my confidence in first of all, fitness. You know, so like when I think about like fitness, I'm always in my head and I'm insecure and all those insecurities. Like I think I have like body dysmorphia. So because I was like a toothpick when I was growing up. And until I got into the Navy, that's when I started actually getting size and bulk on me. So when people would come up to me and be like, "Hey, big guy," and I'd be like, "Who are you talking to?" Um, so like that was, I mean, sometimes that's still a thing for me.
yep.
But I forgot what I was saying. Okay, so just through the whole veteran community, whether it was merging vets and players, whether it was FitOps, whether it was Heroes Movement, all these things are building like my confidence in my like, and they're killing off my insecurities and stuff like this. So I was at the transitional housing for just shy of 2 years. And during that time, I was also volunteering with an organization, and um, I was putting in a lot of work for them. They ended up gifting me a car. So it was coming time for me to leave the transitional housing. And a veteran, I had to look for a place. So a veteran reached out and said, "Hey, well, I've got an open room." And that worked out pretty good. She was sober at the time. She was at that time, I think, 3 years sober. And she said,
Hmm.
"Look, Matt, The only rule is you can't drink at the house. You know, I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm sober. I don't want any incidents or anything. So, you know, I was down with that. So I moved into there from the transitional housing, and everything was going good. I lived there for about 2 years. Now, during that time, I would drink, um, but I would, you know, it was, you know, I'd go out and drink or whatever. So I was kind of upholding the rules up until it was probably a little before COVID. I had some incidents now because I wasn't really drinking in the house, but I was coming home drunk. And
Yeah.
so me and my roommate, we had to talk about that. And she said, "Look, Matt, this behavior. I'm not with it. You know, like I know we agreed to not in the house, but it's just the same if you're coming in, you know, shit faced."
Yep.
So that was a revelation. Like I think one time I had left for a couple days and I was at a buddy's house. He's also a veteran, but he was, you know, just not feeling it. He was kind of suicidal and whatnot. And I just figured I needed to stay with him. Now, during that time, we were three sheets to the wind, drinking and, you know, engaging in some 420 activities. Um, but, you know, that whole time I had my phone turned off and people were reaching out to me. And this was kind of the first, actually, it's probably the first time where I've had people reach out to me and they, you know, because my family and friends always kind of know how I am. If, you know, they're trying to get a hold of me and I don't answer back, oh, that's bad. So at this point, my roommate had contacted people and everybody was reaching out to me. And, you know, I had my phone off. So by the time I got to my house, um, she had told me, you know, if you had stayed out one more day, we were going to call the cops. Like, we were going to report you missing. And in my head, it didn't dawn on me, like, oh shit, like people do care about you. Like they care about your well-being. This looks like something that's happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we sat down and had to talk about that. And then, you know, I kind of got it and I kind of like straightened up for a little bit. Um, and then COVID happened. And when that happened, man, now mind you, like, um, at this point, I'd worked probably about 3 jobs. So I worked one job and then I'd come home, sleep a little bit, work another job. And in the morning, I'd be training veterans. So it was just constant go, go, go. When COVID happened, all of this stopped. So I was just at the house. And all these voices in my head just had nothing to do but to talk to me. And it was just all bad. So, needless to say, like I was, you know, drinking a lot more and going out and partying. Wasn't supposed to be going nowhere, but you know, and I was trying to kind of beat the rule of not drinking at home by drinking in my car. So it's crazy because um, one day I looked in my back seat because you know I drink in my car, and I looked in my back seat and I just had like full of bottles and cans, and it was just horrible. So fast forward, it's probably maybe a year into COVID, and I was an incident happened where I had just got a new job offer. Um, I was supposed to be there in the morning. Um, I went out the night before. An incident happened to where I was moving my car out of my friend's driveway to park it into some other spot. I don't know if you guys know how parking is in LA, but it's horrible. So I was just trying to find a spot and I parked on the street. And right as I parked, a police officer came up behind me and like I froze and I was just there like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, I hope he's not going to come, you know, because I've been drinking, but I had just moved my car. So whatever the case happened, he was behind me for about a minute or so and then he just pulled off. and took off somewhere with his lights going. So I was like, okay, cool. But that really messed me up. Like I was scared. Um, and instead of going home, I went back into my friend's house and just started drinking. So needless to say, I missed the first day of work. Uh, but I woke up like probably a day and a half after I was just gone. So I had let my buddy down. I lied to my roommate about it because she knew of the opportunity. So I lied to her about it. And, like I just felt shitty. Um, so a couple days later, I called my buddy back and said, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. He said, don't worry about it. Like, you really put me in a funk, but we'll figure it out. And shortly after that, um, my roommate told me, hey, we need to have a sit down again. And that sit down led to like a little mini intervention. And she said, you know what, I'm scared. I feel like, I've been watching you go downhill and like like you seem depressed and just everything's kind of spiraling out of control. And then she asked me, was I willing to go into a program? And I said, you know what? And so she called over Ryan Leaf, which is a member of MVP, and we all sat down and figured it out. And I made a call to NRC here in Nashville and said, well, how soon can we get you out here? And I was like, oh crap, they're serious. And so yeah, that basically happened. I wanted to wait. That happened probably about a week before my mom's birthday, and I wanted to wait because the program was like a 3-month program. So I wanted to, wait for my mom's birthday and then go, and they were okay with that. Um, and so basically that's what happened, and that was May 11th of last year. So I'm coming up on a year sober. And originally I was just supposed to stay out here for, yeah, thank you. I was supposed to just stay out for the 90 days. So um, so with that, um, Andy, which was my roommate, which kind of helped facilitate all this, she was left stuck with the bills. So, with rent, we split everything down the middle. So she was helping me get help, but at the same time, she was taking a loss because while I'm here, I couldn't provide any income to her. So that was like my main stressor when I was here in my first 90 days of the program. And, one day, she just reached out to me and said, Matt, I think I'm going to look for another place. I was, I was in a good mental place. I think I was pretty scared of it the whole time leading up to it. But by the time she had come to the conclusion, I was kind of like, oh man, I think this is what's going to happen. And that's what happened. And I think that was the best move for her. And it, it kind of made me have to make a decision. So I was like, I can either come back to California and jump in with the same crowd and, do what I've been doing, or I could really change up what I've been doing and try to like, stick with recovery and figure it out here. So that's basically what I did. I was kind of hesitant on getting my sponsor. I think I think it was about 60 days in where I actually started getting serious about like doing my step work. I got a sponsor and this and that and the other. But, like once I made that decision, I was like, you know what? Like I need to just jump in and do it. And it hasn't been like all roses and, fairy dust, but it's been good, I can't
Uh,
complain.
yeah, I I remember, especially my first year was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd gotten like pretty deep in the gym and hyper focused on, because I didn't work a program.
hmm
My day was like, I had, one day I was like, no. and then, and then it was, because I'd been up until that point, I'd been drunk for years, you know, and it was, how do I act in public? How do I talk to people? What is, and, and that's something I think that a lot of people, no matter what, can share in common, especially when they're getting sober. Because you have to you have to deal with yourself for real for the first time in a very long time.
yes, absolutely.
And uh, what takes intestinal fortitude, real solid guts, is sticking through that and figuring you out, kind of like figuring out how to kind of forgive yourself for shit that you're hating yourself for, and um, processing emotions that you refused to process before. And
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, okay, so back when I was in the transitional housing, so we had like meditation, we had counselors and stuff like that. So that was my first introduction to learning how to like deal with myself, my mental illness, and like take on this new thing of self-care and whatnot. They didn't force any like 12-step program on us, so it was kind of up to us. Um, I tried like 12-step programs before, and when I say try, I want to be very clear, that's loosely, because I would
yep.
go to meetings, I would shotgun like beer cans and go to meetings like, I don't want to listen to this. But so actually accepting it this time, my therapist before I came out here said, you know what, just be open and willing, and so I was like, you know what, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, you know. And so that's what I did. And like out here, like with their programming, they have like a therapist and all these group sessions. So I look forward to that opportunity of fixing, like not so much the aspect of me drinking or using. It was like, why do I feel like I'm broken? What broke me? How can I fix that? Um, and I'm glad that it was presented to me that way because I'm definitely an overthinker. I'm definitely in my head most of the time. I think I could fix everything, and I think that my way is better. So, um, so having to drop all of that thinking, that was the hard part. Having to listen, having to take advice, having to deal with people that actually have been through things that I was going through and not feel judged or not judge people for that matter, and to stay humble. And like you said, man, learning how to deal with yourself and these new emotions, I think that's probably the hardest part. Like, I numbed all my emotions. Like, that's the easiest thing. Like, and you know me, I'm big on humor. Um, I'll use a joke to cope with something or to deal with something instead of face it, directly in the face and deal with it. So I think that's one of the biggest things is like getting to the bottom of why I'm trying to run from things. What am I trying to hide? What am I trying to numb? And then those emotions, man, they hit me smack dab in the middle of the face. Like, why am I crying? Why do I, like, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And to be present through that and sit through it, like, um, because, like I've connected with people and I've always had like, connections with people, whether I was using or not. And from whatever reasons, they see the good in me that I can't see in myself. And that's something that I'm learning, I'm seeing is to like be kind to myself and having that grace and forgiveness for myself. And I think my outlook on things, I could be going through a shitty situation and still have a positive outlook. And I've always shed that like energy and shared it to people. And so when I'm down, the fact that I'm always giving off this good energy and these good vibes, that's the stuff that like brings me up, because those people just reflect that back to me. But yeah.
Oh man, like I think that's why, honestly, that's kind of why I have a hard time expressing emotion still.
Hmm.
Um, so I think I'm way better at it than what I used to be. But my wife may disagree. Yeah, I mean, it's when even though it's easier for me to be vulnerable with me, it's really hard for me to be vulnerable about me to other people.
You
Right?
know what? The thing, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, okay, I'm heavily guarded, but between my, like, I don't give a fuck attitude about shit, like, somewhere in between that, because I'm open, but somewhere in that openness, when I feel that somebody's going to reject me, then up guards comes back up. You know what I'm saying? So, and then that fear, and then I act like I don't care about stuff. So, it's really difficult for me to dig deep on myself and be vulnerable about things. But when I feel that somebody is allowing me to, when somebody actually listens to me, that's weird for me because I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, this person is listening to me. Like, why? Like I'm a fuck up. Why are they listening to me? But because like people believe in me, it gives me that little inkling to like believe in myself more. And I'm like, I don't know why they're believing in me, but hey, screw it.
Yep.
And but it's hard, man. It's hard. For some reason, that kind of edges me forward. Like for me, when I don't like, I think that's why I have to be in a positive headspace. Even when I'm not, I'll fake it because if I don't see the hope, or if I can't feel any hope or whatever, then I'm just done for. And then once I get into that negative headspace, it's damn near impossible to get me out, because I'm my worst enemy. And everything will just ruminate in my head over and over and over, all the negative thoughts, and I won't be able to take in anything positive. So it kind of, the only way I can take on something positive is if somebody is like touched by what I'm going through and how I'm handling it, and I see that, or they tell me, because otherwise I'm like, oh, I don't know why you're listening to me. I'm just Joe Schmo. But they're like, oh man, I didn't think of it like that. You should, you know, and it is weird. Like it doesn't click then; it clicks kind of later. Like, oh, aha, like that person. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. That was always so. I got into a profession that requires people you don't know to trust you completely, right?
hmm,
Like so, not just personal training, but like coaching,
yeah,
and and it's one-on-one coaching. It's like, all right, you got to tell me how you're pooping, how you're sleeping, like,
hmm,
through that whole time, and it's like, I am such a fucking fraud. You just have you're fighting that whole time. Like, no, I completely understand what you're talking about because there's,
absolutely.
especially after I moved out to Arizona, I was like, well, what am I gonna do? I had built a pretty solid client base out in Texas, and like people who knew and understood that you know Jake Howard was the bee's knees, the next up and coming big thing. Maybe I don't know, but Then I moved out here, and I was like, I don't want to start all that shit over again.
Oh man, I hear you.
Yeah, yeah, because now I got to convince a whole another group of strangers that I know what the hell's going on. Sounds terrible.
No, I perfectly hear you on that. And it's funny because, okay, so I think a big part I left out of my story is I'm also a chef.
Yeah,
So one of
hence
the
the flex
things,
chef.
yes. So one of the things is crazy because as I came out here, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, there's um, great kitchens out here," and I'm like, "That's great, but um, that's probably not the place I should be right, especially on my sober journey because." And this not might not apply for everybody in the kitchen industry or the culinary field, but for me, that's like an invitation to like rock stardom, like you know, because it's back of the house and you're doing your thing and you're in your own zone, in your own world. So I kind of had to take a break from that stuff, and although cooking is one of my passions and loves, like I have to get my mind right.
Hmm.
Another thing, I'm just a workaholic anyway, so I think I have an addictive behavior. Anything I attach to, I just go full force. So I have to balance working, I have to balance recovery, I have to balance self care, all these things that I would normally just be like, go, 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 and by any means necessary. So, you know, um, fitness is a big part of my recovery and nutrition too, because if you don't feel good, then that's starts in the kitchen, starts
Big
with your
slippery
diet.
slope.
Yeah. So, it goes full circle and I'm gonna get back into it. I'm gonna get back into my cooking. I'm gonna get back into putting out videos and stuff like that. But it's gonna take time, I have
Hmm.
to restart everything. Like, cause my way of thinking didn't get things done correctly. So I'm gonna have to switch it up.
I was gonna say, like, the Brittany and I pretty much started having kids right away when I showed up. So I mean, the, things have things have taken a way different turn, and my focus is different. Like, I still have online clients and stuff, but like I'm not saying it like in person stuff doesn't matter, but like it really doesn't right now.
Hmm.
Because I one of my biggest moments of pride is Brittany never knew me when I was fucked up, and it is my goal to work that my children growing up will never have to see me like that too. You know,
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment. You should hand clap for yourself. Give yourself some applause. That's a huge accomplishment.
so I mean, like, and I don't want to pry unless you want to get into it, but like I have a friend of mine who his kids have witnessed a lot of that, and it's really affected their relationship. Um, I know you have a son. I don't know y'all's story, but did any of that
Definitely.
really?
My son just turned 22 weeks ago. And yes, it definitely affected our relationship. When my son was younger, he was, of course, a baby. Like I felt like I was more responsible with my drinking and stuff like that. I didn't, because he was, small. So I was kind of not, I mean, I was pretty wild, but, I kind of had a handle on it. And as he got older, it just started getting out of control up into the point where I know he saw me like, shit faced a time or two. And that, you know, I can't take that stuff back. That stuff that like I had conversations about him with. And we still have conversations to this day about it. I'm open with him because I know how I was as a child. I know that if I'm just sitting there telling him, don't do this, like, rather than tell him, don't do this, I'm going to be like, remember when you saw me like this? That's why. You know,
Yeah.
so the relationship that we have now, like, I tell him, like, this is your life. You can do whatever you want to do, but I don't think you want to be my age dealing with these issues because you just wanted to have fun. Like, you
Yep.
could have fun, not go overboard like I did, like extremely overboard. So yeah, our relationship right now, I think it's pretty good. He calls me for advice. Um, I'm proud of him, and I tell him that all the time. That, like, like, whatever you want to do, you can accomplish. Like, it's gonna be hard, but you're gonna have to put in that work. And I'm just here to support you however I can, like, mentally, however. There's a certain point where, as a man, like, you got to go do it yourself. So I just help him, get his mind right and think of things, because whether I whether I want to say anything, like, there was a lot of people that tried to help me out along the way, and I always thought I knew better, so I always did my own thing.
Yep.
Um, and that's something that he's gonna run into, and I just get it out of the way and say, look, you're gonna do what you want to do. I just want to say that this is what I did. These were the results. And so our relationship, I think, right now is pretty good. But it took that, like, ego check, I would say. Like, as a parent, you kind of don't want to you never want to see your kids in a bad situation, and you want them to be better than you. And
Yeah.
at the same time, you have to go about it a way where they're not trying to rebel against what you're saying, and they see that you're coming from a real place. So yeah, that's pretty deep stuff there. It gets tricky, but
Yeah. I mean, like, so the stepkids aren't old enough really to be, you know, peer pressured into dumb shit by their friends just yet.
mhm.
But I'm pretty worried about once, like, they cross that threshold, because, like, I can be like, hey, you
Yeah,
because,
you
like,
know what?
I don't want to be that overbearing, especially because I'm like their stepdad too. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, asshole.
yeah, I
you know,
totally get it, man. I had a first marriage, and she had two kids, and looking back at it now, because I was pretty strict with my son. I raised him, I gave him spankings and stuff, and then he got to an age where I just gave him a look what time it was. And now, like, I asked him next month, so I let him, I had to transition to all these things because there was a point where I figured out if he's just doing things in my face for me to just be like, oh, he's such a great kid, and then turn around and be like the wildest kid out there, like I was doing.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's funny you say that because, like, you say that your stepkids are at that age where I was one to not be influenced by stuff. I was the wild one.
yep,
Like, so I have to think back on that stuff, and that's what kind of had me, like, changing my like views on things. And, like, man, like, there was one time where I was talking to my son. He got in trouble, and I didn't spank him. I just told him, I'm disappointed in you. And the look he had on his face, like, his whole body language, like his head sunk, like shoulders slumped, and like he was just that way for, like, wild hours, and I told him, you know what, whatever you did is just a mistake, and I had to go back on like my punishment because I just saw how much that killed him internally, and I told him, you know what, in life we make mistakes, and like I didn't mean to, because I felt like I put out his fight, and that's probably the worst thing, because I feel like he would have taken the punishment, but because I told him I was disappointed in him, I felt like that was worse, and so I had to tell him, you know what, I'm sorry I said that, I might be going a bit hard, and then I asked him feedback, and then, I saw a little change. From then I started changing stuff up, but I just figured, I'm not trying to steal the joy. I might be trying to get my point across. I don't want to be that authoritarian like that guy that's, because I was raised in a pretty strict family. I know how that goes. So just everything that I've been raised with, my thoughts on how I felt that, and even now, like going into therapy now, I'm just glad my son calls me, talking to me for advice, or just even for nothing. And just call and we'll just be goofy at the moment. And like that's what I feel like, man. There's always room for stability.
Yep. Sorry, I'm trying to see. You're. I don't know if it's just my headphones, but you're coming in kind of quiet and choppy. Yeah, I'm seeing if it's something that.
Yeah, might be
Sorry?
his internet.
Okay.
But if you want to close out the window that you're in, on your phone, however you called or you dialed in, however you got in, linked in, just close out and then open it back up, and it should reset it.
Okay.
And I'll bring you back on.
All right. Well, I'll
Technical
see you.
difficulties.
Difficulties.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. And I really hope that people take the time and actually listen to that, because he was talking about some really heavy and good stuff too.
He was spitting some gems, absolutely.
Yeah. That was probably some of the most Jimmy Jims dropped on the show in a minute. So I really hope people take the time to really stop and listen to that.
I'm gonna subtitle the shit out of that just so it gets through either way.
Hell yes.
Jimmy Jims, I like that.
Jimmy Jims, the shiniest. Yeah, man. So you're out in Nashville, huh?
Out in Nashville, yes, sir.
How's that going for you? Like,
it's going good. Like they have a big recovery community out here, which is awesome. And it is funny because once I got downtown to Broadway and saw, like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm sober because I'd have a ball out here.
yeah.
Oh man, it's one of those cities where it's like a kind of party city. So I'm glad I'm connected with the sober community here, and but I'm enjoying it. It's different from Cali. Being from California, like, and then moving down to the South, and particularly Nashville. It was, there's more diversity in California, and I'm starting to see more diversity now that I'm not just in like my enclosed surroundings, but it's growing on me, and I'm definitely liking it.
Have you been out to Dollywood yet?
I have not.
That's my stepdaughter Mila brings that up like once a month. It's like, we should really go to Dollywood. Yeah. Let me just shit a bunch of money real quick. We'll just hop on out.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I need to check it out.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine that the sobriety community there would be pretty robust, just because of I don't know how it is, but it used to be that if you were trying to be an up and coming country singer, you'd have to go and find a dive bar that would let you play, and that was pretty much how you got paid. Was your beers for the night and whatever else anybody got you if you did a good set. And
Uh-huh.
then you have the heartbreak of it, of the the company's jacking your songs and telling you to have a good day. Here's your 12 cents. So, I mean,
Be gone.
I can imagine that there's some people that have had to cope with some things out there.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? That's one of the things that I didn't expect, because in a step program, it's like, okay, you're going to these meetings, which I dreaded at first. And in my head, I was like, I don't want to hear about anybody else's problems or because the first time that I went to meetings and started going, I was going fucked up, and I was like, every time I hear about somebody's stories, it makes me want to go use. Um, so I had to come at it with a different like mindset. And I did it humbly, because I was listening to people's stories and being like, damn, I did that. I did that. Oh man, I hope I don't do that. If I keep doing this, then I'm going to do that. So I came at it with a different like mindset, and it's just been really, really helping me keep myself grounded. Um, I don't know. It kind of, a lot of times I don't see my actions uh, through my actions. Like I'll see my actions through somebody else and be like, oh shoot, that person's doing that. That's me. So being in those meetings, I have a different take on it now. I really appreciate stuff like that. Or maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to put the party bug out. But no, I'm not putting the party bug out. I still party sober. You know. But 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 it's just the willingness to listen, like, and to do something different. And yeah, it's crazy because I see a lot of stuff now that I probably normally wouldn't notice because I'd be like shit faced.
Yeah.
And being able to take that in and be like, this is the other side of that.
I say it all the time on the show, and I'm pretty sure people are tired of it. But one of the best things I did was I got a bouncer gig at Mavericks Country Dance Hall. That was one of the best things I think that could have ever fallen into my lap, because my job was to stay sober and make sure that the drunks weren't too drunky, And then it was just like,
Absolutely.
wow, that was
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's so funny because like you see people stumbling and in my head when I was the one doing that stuff, I was like, oh, I'm all right, and I would just
Hmm.
be three to the wind. And to see somebody like that, like other people would laugh at them, and I still get a chuckle or two off. But I'm like, man, that could have been me.
Yep.
I know where that person's at right now. There are plenty of times where I woke up on lines, cities I didn't know I was in, and like, I woke up in the back of a car one time with dog hair all over me, and like 3 cities away. Like, what am I doing? So I mean, I've got plenty of stories. And okay, another thing about it is, um, when I thought of not drinking, in my head initially, I was like, oh, I never get to drink again. So I had to stop that mind state by like, you know what, I just won't drink for today. Because the
Hmm.
thought of never ever again, that just overwhelms me and I get anxious, and then I'm like, I can't take this. Like I can't deal with myself. I need to go immediately change that feeling with alcohol or drugs. So learning how to get over that and sit in that, that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, and people that are, I think, trying to get sober, when you first, and they're like, I'm done. I want to be done, and then you tell them it's just one day at a time. They're like, fuck you.
Yeah. They're like, I don't want to hear that shit.
but you got to be like, no, seriously, like,
Yeah.
because like, there's just times I'll be sitting throughout the day and I'll be like, ooh, just I could do it. I could do a glass of whiskey. I could totally just do a glass of whiskey. And I have
Mm-hmm.
to be like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Because
It's an internal battle. Like, no,
yeah,
you can't.
no, you can't. That glass of whiskey is going to turn into that bottle of whiskey, and then you getting divorced. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know, like,
0
and
to 60 real quick.
I tell people all the time, it's every day. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm better at coping and getting myself out of that thought loop pretty quick, because for me it's been a while, and last December was 6 years, right? So,
Wow.
but
Congratulations.
thank you. But it's like, still, and I'm not saying this as a, like, it's a hopeless thing. In a way, I'm grateful for it.
Mhm.
At this, you know what I mean? I'm grateful for it. Like, I'm grateful that I kind of still have that, because then I get to remind myself, no, stupid, this is why you're not. And
Uh-huh.
I get to think about the good things that I have and that are going, that, oh, messing those up would be the worst thing you could do. And then it's,
Absolutely.
yeah. And it takes time. And then, and also a big thing that pushes people away is like, oh, you're going to hate yourself for, like, you're gonna have to deal with you, and you don't like you. Like,
You know what? That's a huge one because, okay, so first of all, I had to tell myself, like, well, you keep telling yourself, like, okay, yeah, you had fun times or whatever, but you forget about all the bad times, the bad shit you
mhm.
did while you were there. So immediately I had to change that. But then also, it's like, um, what you said, which I just forgot.
Okay, cool. The
Um, go ahead.
the one day at a time, or the you're gonna hate yourself.
Oh, yes. So yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I didn't get sober to be miserable.
Yep.
Like, so, and when I was in the transitional housing, like I was sober. When I met you guys, I was sober. I was having a ball. My life, like I can have fun without it.
Yeah.
So those are key things because in my head I was like, I could never do this. I can never be sober. Blah 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 blah. Life's gonna be a drag. And it's actually the opposite. And I had to remember that. I had to tell myself. I still have to remind myself. Like,
Hmm.
like I didn't get sober to be miserable. You know,
Hmm.
I I can still have fun.
Yep. Yeah. Like, once you get over that woe is me shit, you're like, oh, but like, yay is me though.
Yeah.
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 And it's, well, just like anything in life, it's gonna suck before it's good. When you're really starting something, it's, you have to eat the shit before you can eat the steak.
Absolutely. That's one of those things I told myself, well, I'm not gonna start off as an expert. Like I have to start on a lower level and build myself up.
Yep. You have to start off as the, what is it, you have to start off washing dishes before you're running the line, right?
Oh yeah, you know.
Let's tie that into some culinary stuff there.
I like that. Learn the lay of
Yeah.
the land.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I took I took basic culinary classes at Central Arizona College.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna have to see them knife skills.
Oh, they're bad. They're bad. They're, they're bad.
Okay.
I got my knife out and I was chopping peppers this morning and I was like, Chef Peyton would fucking stab me right now.
As long as you got all your fingers, you're good.
Yeah, we're great. But I was like, oh, ew, 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 you can't even chop a vegetable anymore.
Oh, that's
you
hilarious.
you didn't even run this through the steel since the last 4 times you used it, you nasty. Like
That's funny.
yeah,
You know
man,
what?
like
It's so funny because you know, I'll still like I have a lot of like I'll still film myself and I'll still be like I have a lot of footage. I have a GoPro and stuff like that. And so I'll still do a lot of my cooking and I got a lot of cooking like recorded, but I have to edit it and do all this stuff. And that takes time. But I'll look at my footage and I'll be like, oh man, my chefs will like hate me because like, you know, from a chef to a chef, when you see something, you're like, he did that. He did that, you know?
yeah.
So it's funny because I did a live a couple months back. I think it was this summer where I did like a live on Instagram, and I forget what I was making, but whatever I was making, like it had eggs in it, and I was cracking the eggs. Oh, I was making fried rice. So I'm cracking the eggs, putting them in the bowl, cracking the eggs, putting them in the bowl, and I crack an egg, and it just goes completely on the cutting board. And I'm looking like this is live. Like so that blooper is there and I'm like, you didn't see that. And I'm scooping it up and putting it in the bowl like, ah. And then I'm like gassed. So I'm like, oh, what do I do next? I made a couple other errors, but you know, those things are, it's funny to like look at those and laugh and be like, okay, like you're not perfect. You're going to screw up. Like, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff like, I don't know, just that I was looking at that stuff the other day and it was making me laugh. But I'm definitely, you know, cooking is my passion as well as fitness. And there's still a lot more I have to go there. Um, you know, it's happening slowly but surely.
Are you thinking about maybe opening up your own spot out there? So that's a whole nother animal in itself. But
I mean, if the opportunity arises and I'm up for the challenge, maybe. Um, you know, with me, I'm still dealing with some of the things that like I'm weak at. Like, and one of the things I'm weak at is like in the business mindset. So like having a partner with that would probably be ideal. Um, but I'm pretty controlling, so it's good that I'm learning how to deal with some of my issues so I can maybe give free reign or get input to give input and let some of the things go that I need to. Um, because I'm just kind of like, I'm one of those people that will fake it till I make it and people will be dependent on me. And I'm like, but I don't know what's going on. And they won't know that. I'm just like, yeah, I got this. And I'm learning how to say that, no, I don't got this. So
yeah,
I think this process is really helping me with that.
good man, good. Well, that's really all I got. Let's talk about the day. So,
All right.
you know, first off, happy birthday to the guy that killed Hitler. But so is 420 a big deal out where you're at, or no?
So I believe that cannabis is still illegal out here. Um, Back in Cali, it wasn't. And alcohol is primarily my drug of choice, but boy, I'm a hell of a stoner. Um, so and you know, it's funny because I'm glad that I did stay out here in Nashville because I think if I would have done 90 days and moved back out there, then I know what I would have done.
Yeah.
Um, and part of the, 12-step program is just refraining from everything. So yeah,
Well, so there is such a thing. It's known in the especially in the 12-step circles as California sober, right?
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Which if I was back in Cali, that would definitely be a thing. But being that I'm not,
well, personally, if you are using cannabis not recreationally but medicinally, like legitimately medicinally, and
Mhm,
you can find your peace in that. That's because to yourself be true, right? That's one of the.
absolutely.
But like because for me personally, like I've never been a big smoker,
Uh-huh.
not my thing. But on days like because I'll have days where where I'm feeling it. And like I feel like the world's pushing me into the ground. I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go eat one of these edibles that I have in the fridge, and I'm just gonna sit on the couch for a second.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean,
babe, babe, juggle these babies
I'm a
for a second.
big guy on the benefits of cannabis and the benefits of how it is on the mind and the body. Um, so I mean, that's something that was a upside of um, when COVID happened and California being down with that. But the alcohol just kind of made everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely am into the benefits of it, especially in fitness. And
Yes.
when well, for me at least, when I would mix fitness and smoking or whatever, because I would smoke before a workout, and that would be like my pre-workout, and I could power through my workouts and not be distracted. And then the elements of me not being sore, or maybe I was just too high to not feel the soreness. I don't know, but I would
I
power
used to
through.
be I used to be pretty big on really slaughtering myself, and then CBD
Hmm.
just
Oh yeah, for the joints, that was like that was another thing that because being in this program, this program has rules, and I was like, well, what about CBD oil for my joints? And they were like, no, you can't do anything. And like the benefits of CBD, oh my God, they're especially getting older and stuff starts to crack and squeak. Yeah.
yeah, man. Like I I love that stuff. We've talked about that a few times on the show. I think, but because I do enjoy edibles, I keep them at more than an arm's distance too. Just
Uh-huh.
because I do not. I think me becoming an everyday user will end up with me being more of a lazy ass, and then
Yeah.
and then and then me, and then you know Brittany will say something like, "Well, let's go. We have to go do this," and I'll be like, "I can't. I have to take my medicine."
Yeah.
Like I can see myself getting like that, and like using it as a
Uh-huh.
crutch rather than a medicine. So
Absolutely. And with edibles, I always would have to remind myself, you don't want to be a me and be like, these edibles don't work. And then I'm on the couch with the chew to my ear with the telephone, like,
well, my boy Randy used to manage a dispensary out here.
okay.
So before he moved, he was like, here's all this crap in my fridge." Oh, thanks, man. And I remember telling Ryan and my buddy Paul, because we were in a group chat at the time, and I was like, "Boys, if you need me, I'm gonna be high and enjoying myself. Just just because we got home and I was like, I'm gonna have one of these. It's been a few years. Like, why not? And I didn't
Mhm.
read I didn't read the container. And
The recommended dosage.
well, no, I mean, like the whole thing. It was like, and it wasn't a 10 milligram. I ate like 100 milligram gummy, and I was like, no,
Yeah, everything in slow motion.
no, 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 no. I'm so tired of this. I don't want to be high anymore. This isn't fun.
Oh my God, yes.
This is the most like I'm supposed to be relaxing, but I'm like, this isn't relaxing anymore.
You're like, I can't do anything.
Not a fan. Not a fan. I want to get off this ride. It's like,
Yeah,
no, dummy. No, dummy. What you just did, you've got another 6 hours. Like,
yeah,
oh.
yeah. You're going to be at that play for the entire duration. You're in the middle row in the middle seat. You can't get up.
No intermissions.
Yeah, no intermissions. You're there.
Yeah, man. So I'm very careful. How much is this? What is this?
Absolutely, I agree.
Well,
Like,
how
and
much?
then there's just other components and properties of it too. Like, I'm not big on like prescription medicines or any of that stuff too. I think cannabis has its properties of healing and all that stuff. So if it was up to me, I'd take a more Eastern approach on medicine in general. So I try to like herbs and supplements of non chemically things, because I figured I put enough chemicals in me. Like
time to
it's time
time
to
to
get
stop doing
figure out.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
all
Like
that.
the human body's amazing if you treat it right and do what you're supposed to. It can pretty much fixes itself, and then you feel great. I think you know, a lot of big problem with a lot of modern day medicine. It's like, yeah, this fixes this, but it gives you this. Have you tried this medicine to fix that?
Yeah, like anal bleeding. Really, I had a
Yeah,
headache. Like,
yeah. That trade off doesn't sound too good to me.
what's going on here?
Man, no. So Ryan had uh, shared this on his Instagram story earlier, but I guess today's Patriot Day or Patriots Day too. Like that's what the federal government's calling it. What the hell is that?
You know what? I have no idea. There's so many days now. Like
Yeah.
today is marble fell off the freeway day. Like what? Like I have no idea. Like yeah, Patriot Day. That's I don't. So what does that
Well, so,
mean actually?
well, see, I put it into the old Googleinator here, and it's saying that Patriot Day is September 11th.
So they're not even consistent about. Yeah. All I know is I shared a post that I put up 2 years ago, this day in 2020, and so I was watching the news, the morning news. It's 420. You figured they're gonna be, corny about some kind of thing that has to do with 420. Nope. They said today is Patriots Day, blah blah blah, like talking about being patriotic, and the very next topic was about a local brewery and how they just were gassing this company up about beer on 420, and I was just it was such an obviously weird thing to do to start the day with. So
Wow.
yeah, I was revisiting my page and I was like, didn't I post something about that? And it's The Rock, and so he like eye rolls super hard. It's like, the news,
So,
Patriot Day, and it's like smokers everywhere, and they're doing the rock face, like rolling their eyes, like, what the hell is this?
so I put in Patriots Day, and it says Patriots Day of 2022 was on Monday, April 18th in Maine.
In Maine, yikes! See, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They
Yeah,
roots.
Patriots Day is an annual event formalized as a legal holiday or special observance day in several states commemorating the battles of Lexington, Concord, and Minnetomi, some of the first battles of the American Revolutionary War. And it
That's
says the celebrations are the Boston Marathon.
yeah, that's been the way for a while. Like the Boston Marathon is, a very popular event, but 420 is synonymous. I mean, it's like May the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Any Star Wars buff knows that as May 4th. So it's like, in terms of consumerism, like they do it specifically to control the narrative. Like, when you watch a football game, you see a bunch of cigarette and beer ads because that's all package of what they do. Or it's, at this point, it's Pepsi and like Pizza Hut or whatever. But
Yeah.
like they have that thing that's like a package deal. And so like it just seems like the local news outfits, they always talk about support local business, but they always do it in terms of alcohol. And even with the change culturally and nationally with the acceptance of marijuana, most specifically with cannabis, breaking it down between THC and CBD, but it's like all of the benefits that you get from it, you don't get any benefits from alcohol, yet it's still sold as something outside of it being the toxin that it is. So it's just one of those weird. So like on St. Patrick's Day, imagine them not talking about green beer and instead talking about some war somewhere, some battle that's celebrated on the same day. It's like, why would they would
Yeah,
never
right.
they would never.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that because, we think about that exactly. And you just think about like corporate America and consumerism and, I could go on and on and on. That's a whole other podcast.
yeah. No, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. It's just that, anytime that something like this happens, like the PC cult, like the people who have traditionally got to see what they liked on the big screen, on their phone, whatever, now they are forced to see alternative lifestyles without their choosing. And like the only thing they know what to do is to double down on what they know. And it's like, it's just it's so lazy.
Oh, that's funny. Or
Anyway.
maybe they were just high and they hit the wrong button. Like,
Right. Yeah.
the teleprompter was like, 2 days ago, fine. Read it.
I don't know, man. I was I had to get new tires like 3 or 4 years ago, and this was right after I got my medical card, and everybody was like, go to a big O Tire or whatever. And so I looked into going to them, and they're like one of the biggest supporters of anti-cannabis legislation, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to get my tires done somewhere else. So it was a really weird thing, but they like donated millions of dollars every year. And like if you saw when they did the Prop, what was it, 203, that I eventually got passed, you would read the actual pamphlet, and it's all of these ads that are against, and that's where all that money goes. They pay people to write these negative reviews and opinions about it leading up into an election. It's so gross, man. It's so gross. But happy 420, everyone.
Yeah, I definitely want to pick your brain about that. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's craziness.
I'm glad I made a connection here, guys.
And I used to drink casually. I was a DJ for 20 years, so you always would get, in the same mindset as the people you were going to entertain, because you didn't want to be the random sober guy in control of a party. So like it just kind of came with the territory. And then I made the decision, like my body was getting older and it was harder for me to recover, but my tolerance wasn't going down. Even if I tried to drink more water or whatever. It was never going down. And then I dove into cannabis, and it changed things. And so like prior to me getting my card, I had never purchased cannabis from anybody. Like I never bought weed from anybody. And my wife, when we first met, like she smoked more than I did. And then when we moved out here and things, we grew up, she was always in an administrative position. So she always felt uncomfortable being, blindsided by a drug test. My wife is the furthest thing from a stoner, but it's like she always had that awareness. And so now it's like I'm a daily smoker, but it's controlled. I use a cartridge. I don't do it. My kids don't smell it. I don't do it. Like, it's very, the dosage, I get to control every aspect of it. And so I know what my tolerance is the exact same way it is with alcohol, except for I don't have a hangover and there's 0 calories. So it's like the sell against it is so one-sided that when you see how much effort and how much marketing is put into the traditional revenue stream of liquor, and I mean the division of the government, the ATF, it's there, but it's not a scheduled substance. It's not all of these things. So it's just like, but that's America, man. They make the rules make sense where they want them to. So
yeah, you know it.
sorry, man. I'll get off my fucking soapbox. Happy 420.
No, you're okay. Hey, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here, Ryan. We've been doing this for a long time. I'm glad.
I'm the least sober person on this show right now, rapping the most. So it's like, I just don't want to be a hypocrite. That's all.
I'm loving it.
So where can people find you if they want to reach out and say they love your face?
On my Instagram at flex_chef. Yeah, Lex_chef. And I also have like a YouTube page. I'm trying to, when I get some more editing stuff done, I'll be putting some stuff out and then more stuff out on YouTube. But Instagram is basically my mainstay. I'm on Twitter also, same tag. What else? Yeah, that's about it.
There you go. I'm glad you did this, man. I'm really glad you're just like, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys had me, man. Like, I know we had kind of spoke on this before, and this was like the perfect time. Like, you guys caught me at the perfect times. Hell yeah.
Thank you for taking the time, man. It's I, as someone who is out on the outside looking in, just helping to kind of steer the ship. It's always great to see people's willingness to be vulnerable and to give a lot of insight into the nitty gritty behind your recovery, because it's always active. And so we can do this as long as we do and as long as we have been, but there's ups and downs to everything. So I really do appreciate you taking the time and being transparent with our audience.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, once again, thanks for having me, because this is still an opportunity for me to learn myself, and I could watch this and be like, oh yeah, like, because this is presently happening now,
right?
So that's a part of my journey, to stay in the moment and stay present, because I'm always thinking ahead or thinking in the past, and that's always what ends up causes me to have problems. So yeah, this is more therapeutic to me than I realized.
That's what I've been saying this whole time since we've done this. This is like my therapy for sure, especially when it's just like just us the guys kind of thing. And it's like, man, I don't really have a lot of bro time. So this is like, it's a good solid bro time. And then I've watched back every episode we've done, and it's, if you go back and watch like the first year, oh,
that's the good stuff. That's when you get to really critique it.
So I mean, we've gotten a lot better. Yeah, man, I completely agree. It's always it's really cool to see stuff that you've recorded or done in the past too, and then checking it with where you're at now, and you're like,
Cringe.
Mhm.
I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, I think I'm going to close it this evening. So after we get off here, I would, if you could please stay on so I can write down links and things so I can put them in the description. And
Sweet.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Sober Swole podcast.
Bye.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.